So we continue today in the sugya of Matan Torah. We are on Pevav Amud Beis Tanu Rabbanon. The first word on the line is Teku. It's about 10 lines from the bottom of the page. Tanu Rabbanon, we learned in a Braise. Here the Gemara is going to bring the Braise that tells us the machlokes of Rabbanon and Rabbi Yosi regarding the schedule of preparation to Matan Torah and on what day Matan Torah happened. We brought it before, and now the Gemara brings the actual Braise. So it says in the Braise as follows: B'shishi b'chodesh nitnu aseres adibris liYisrael. On the 6th day of the month, on Vav Sivan, that's when the aseres adibris was given to the Yidden. That's the opinion of the Rabbanon. Rabbi Yosi says b'shivapay. No, the Matan Torah happened on Zayin Sivan, on the next day. So now the Gemara will explain the basis of their machlokes. Omar Rava. So Rava explained as follows: The Kula Alme B'Rosh Chodesh Asu LeMidbar Sinai. Everybody agrees when did the Yidden arrive to Midbar Sinai? It was on Rosh Chodesh Sivan. How do we know this? It doesn't say befedish in the pasuk it was Rosh Chodesh Sivan, but we learn it out with Gzeira Shava. Ksiv Hacha. It says here regarding their arrival to Har Sinai by Yom Hazeh Ba Midbar Sinai. On this day they arrived to Midbar Sinai. So it says Hayom Hazeh, Yom Hazeh. Ksiv Hasam, and earlier it says HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem Rosh Chodashim. Mala halon Rosh Chodesh, just as there, the word Hazeh refers to Rosh Chodesh. Over there it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Afkan Rosh Chodesh. Here as well, the day they arrived to Midbar Sinai was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So that everybody agrees. Another thing everybody agrees. Udukula Alma, everybody also agrees, B'Shabbos Nitna Torah Yisrael. The Matan Torah happened on Shabbos. Ksiv Hacha, here the pasuk says, Zacheres im Shabbos Lakache. One of the Aseres Adibris, the Eibush is saying, remember the day of Shabbos. Uksiv Hasam, and earlier it says, Vayem Moshe Ela'am, Zacher es hayom hazeh, uses the same terminology of Zacher. Remember this day. What is that day talking about? The day that the Yidden actually left Mitzrayim. And on that day, on Chamisha Asar B'Nissen, when they left Mitzrayim, the Eibush is telling them, remember this day that you left out of Mitzrayim. Just as there, the Eibush is telling it to them on that day, in the middle of the day when they left Mitzrayim. Afkan b'itzu mishal yom. So too over here, on the day of Matan Torah, when the Eibush is saying Zacher es yom HaShabbos, it's actually, the Eibush is telling this to Yidden on Shabbos itself. So that everybody agrees. So where's the machlokes? Ki pligi, what is their machlokes? Bekviya de yarcha. On what day of the week was Rosh Chodesh? Rabbi Yosi Savar, Rabbi Yosi's opinion is Bechad b'Shabbat ikve yarcha. Rosh Chodesh was on Sunday. Ubechad b'Shabbat, and then on that Sunday, when the Yidden arrived to Har Sinai, Loi Amalu v'Loi Midi, Moshe Rabbeinu did not tell the Yidden anything, didn't speak to them on that day, Mishum Chulsha the Orcha, because the Yidden were weak from the way that they traveled from Refidim to Har Sinai. Then, B'Trei b'Shabbat, on Monday, Amalahu, Moshe Rabbeinu told the Yidden, this is Beis Sivan, Va'atem Tiyuli Mamleches Kayanim, that you will be a nation of priests. This is on Beis Sivan, which some people refer to as Yom HaMeyuchas, the Yichus of Klal Yisrael, began on this day when the Eibush refers to the Yidden as Mamleches Kayanim. So there's actually a machlokes of Rashi and Ramban how to teach Mamleches Kayanim. Either it means a mamlacha of Kayanim, priests that are serving in the Beis HaMikdash, or Mamleches Kayanim means ministers that are chashiv, prominent, that Yidden are elevated above Olam Hazeh and so on, above the nature of the world. So this is the day that the Yidden received their special identity as Mamleches Kayanim. The Rebbe would very often quote the lashon that it says in the Baal HaTurim over there in Chumash, that Mamleches Kayanim means that every single Yid is not only Mamleches Kayanim, but Kayanim Gedolim. Every Yid has the ability to be close and connected to the Eibishter like a Kayan Gadol. But on the 3rd day of the week, on Gimel Sivan, Amalahu, Mitzvahs Hagbala. The Eibishter tells, or Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Yidden, the mitzvah of Hagbala, that they should be fence off the mountain, to limit access to the mountain, not to go up. Then Barba, on Wednesday, Dalet Sivan, Avod Prisha. That's when Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Yidden to separate from their wives, to be ready to receive the Torah on the 4th day on Shabbos. As we learned before, this follows the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel or Rabbi Akiva, that you have to wait to the 4th day or until after 60 hours in order to be able to be Makabel the Torah, B'Tara, and not to be Pileta Shechva Zera, as we learned yesterday. Okay? Then, so this is Rabbi Yossi. Okay, so we have Rosh Chodesh on a Sunday, and Kabbalah Satayra when? On Shabbos, which would be on Zayin Sivan. Rabbanan Savri, on the other hand, Rabbanan's opinion is, B'trei b'Shabbat ikve yarche. The Rosh Chodesh was established that year on a Monday. Then what happened? B'trei b'Shabbat on Monday, Lei amalu v'lei midi, Moshe Rabbeinu did not speak to Klal Yisrael mishum chol shadorcha, because of the weakness of the way. But Tlasa, then it came on Tuesday, Amaluhu, he told them, Va'atem Tili. He told them the Atem Tili on Lechas Kayanim. Barba, then on the fourth day of, on Barba, on Wednesday, Amalu Mitzvah Sagbala. He told them the mitzvah to fence off the mountain. Behei, only on Thursday, Ovet Prisha. Then he told them to separate from their wives, which follows the opinion of Rav Lazar ben Azariah, that you have to separate for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and then on Shabbos they're ready to be, on the third day they're ready to be Mekabel the Torah. That's the basis of their machlokes. So just to stop a moment on what the Gemara here says, that on the first day when Yidden arrived to Har Sinai on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, so Moshe Rabbeinu did not speak to Yidden mishum chol shadorcha, because they were too weak from their travel. So there's the famous question on this that the Mefarshim ask, really? The Yidden traveled from Refidim to Har Sinai, which was not a very long distance, and because of this travel, they were too weak to listen to Moshe Rabbeinu speak to them to prepare for Matan Torah. Weren't the Yidden eager to go forward and to be Makabel the Torah? They were counting every single moment, they were counting every day. And here Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, we're going to wait because Yidden are too weak to listen to Moshe Rabbeinu preparing for Matan Torah. How is this possible? So the Rebbe teaches in a Sikha, a very geschmack Sikha in Chelik Chav Ches, 2 points. First, the Rebbe says that the distance the Yidden traveled was not the physical distance. It was the spiritual distance, the spiritual leap that the Yidden arrived on this day. They came to Har Sinai, Vayichen Shem Yisrael Kishachad B'Leiv Echad, going from everything they were in before, where they were in their natural state of being, where Ein Day same Shabbos, where everybody has their own opinion, and here they traveled such a distance, Beruchnius, to come to such a great Achdus. That was a great accomplishment and great distance that they traveled, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't share anything else with them. Because of the chulsha, the urcha, in other words, because of the avodah that they were busy with, that they accomplished of coming to this Achdus. That's one pshat the Rebbe says. Then another pshat the Rebbe says is, the chulsha, the urcha in itself was the preparation for Matan Torah. What chulsha, the urcha is referring to is the Yidden reaching a level of bittul, the Yidden coming to the realization that here, as we arrive to Har Sinai, the only way you can be Makabel Torah is any achana you're going to do will not be sufficient to be a keli, to be Makabel Eibish's Torah. It's be'ein areich, it's bli gvul legabi, what any nivra could handle. So therefore they came to the realization, the very thing is chol shud orcha, the bittul, to complete self-nullification to the Eibishter. That was the very first achana that actually happened before all the following days, where there were specific things that they did actively to prepare or to refrain from for Matan Torah. So the Gemara weiter meisvei. So the Gemara now is going to bring a few questions on Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Fragt the Gemara, what does it say in the pasuk? V'kidashtem hayom u'machar. You should sanctify yourself today and tomorrow. So it seems to say in the pasuk that it's just 2 days that they have to separate from their wives, and then on the third day will be Matan Torah, like the opinion of the Rabbanan, that it's Thursday and Friday, and then Shabbos they receive the Torah. Kashi le Rabbi Yossi. This is a question on Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Answers the Gemara, Omalach Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi answers, is the famous thing Rabbi Yossi says, Yom Echad Haisif Moshe Midaitai. The additional day, Moshe Rabbeinu was Meisif on his own. The original plan was that it should be Taka Hayom U'Machar, that Wednesday and Thursday they'll separate from their wives, and then on Friday the Eibusha will give the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu added another day on his own, and the Torah was given on Shabbos. The Tanya we learned in Avraisa, Gimel Dvarim Asa Moshe Midaitai. There are 3 things that Moshe Rabbeinu did with his own decision. The Hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Imai, and the Eibishter agreed to him. Haisif Yom Echad Midaitai Upirish Mine Isha. Sorry, it's 2 different things. Haisif Yom Echad Midaitai. He added a day for the Yidden to separate from their wives to be Makabel the Torah. Upirish Mine Isha, and Moshe Rabbeinu also separated from his wife. V'shavar es haluchos. And he also broke the luchos when he came down from Har Sinai by the Chet HaEgel. So the Gemara now explains, Haisif Yom Echad Midaitai, when Moshe Rabbeinu was Meisif one day, his own decision, my Darish. What did he darshan? Where did Moshe Rabbeinu come to this conclusion that he should do this? Because it said in the pasuk, the Eibishter tells him that v'kidashtem hayom u'machar, today and tomorrow. So what Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself is, hayom k'machar, today and tomorrow should be similar. In what way? Ma'ala machar leila yimai. Just as tomorrow, the second day, you have the full 24-hour period of the second day, the day and the night. Afayim leila yimai, the first day should also be the full day, including the night before. V'layla da'idna nafkele. If Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking to them on Wednesday by day, according to Rabbi Yaisi, so the night of Wednesday is already gone. You don't have the night of this first day. So Shema Mina Trei Yomi Lebar Ma'idna. So from this he understood that it's appropriate to have 2 full days, just like the second day will be a full day. The first day should also be a full day. So therefore, besides the Wednesday, which was only a half a day because it does not include the night before, so he added the Thursday a full day, Friday a full day, and then for Shabbos, the Yidden would be ready to receive the Torah. How do we know that the Eibishter...
Originally, it was only going to be a day and a half?
Correct. It was going to be a day and a half, and then on the third day, there would be Makabel the Torah.
How does that fit with everything we learned?
The Gemara explained yesterday that according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, when we say that on the third day, there's no Shechva Zera, it doesn't have to be 3 full days. It could be even part days, half days. As long as it's the third day on the calendar, then you're ready to be Makabel the Torah. How do we know that the Eibishter agreed to Moshe Rabbeinu for what he did, that he added a day? So the answer is simple. Because the Eibishter did not descend on the mountain, the Shechina did not dwell until the morning of Shabbos. So the Eibishter actually waited for the third day to be over, until the fourth day. This is one thing that he added. Another thing that Moshe Rabbeinu did, he separated from his wife. And he did that on his own. My Dorish, where did Moshe Rabbeinu come to the conclusion to do this? He darshaned as follows. Nasa kal v'chomer ba'atzma. He made the following kal v'chomer. Omar, he said, Uma Yisrael. If it comes to Yidden, shalei dibra shchina imon el shah achas. The Shechina speaks with them only on one occasion, by Matan Torah. V'kava lehem zman. And the Yidden knew in advance when it is that the Eibush is coming to speak to them. Amra Torah, the Torah says, V'heyu nechayim v'gayim, the Yidden should prepare. Al tikshu, do not come close, do not have relations with your wife, as a preparation for this. I, says Moshe Rabbeinu, shekol shah v'shah shchina midaberesimi. All times, the Shechina comes to speak with me. Ve'ene kavei lizman, and there's no specific time when I know to expect that the Eibush is going to come speak to me. Alachas kama v'kama, most definitely you have to be prepared, and I have to separate from my wife to be able to speak to the Eibushter. From where do we know that the Eibishter was maskim? Because the pasuk says, Leich emor lahem, go tell the Yidden, Shuvu lachem la'ahal leichem, go back to your tent. And ksiv basrei, and after this it says, Va'ato poya moedi modi, and you, Moshe Rabbeinu, remain here with me. So all Yidden go back to their wives, to their tent, but Moshe Rabbeinu is to remain with the Eibishter. The Amri, others say, Pe el pe adabre boy. That the Eibishter says about Moshe Rabbeinu after Miriam and Aaron had the conversation, and they were talking about the fact that what Moshe Rabbeinu did was incorrect, that he separated from his wife. The Eibishter comes and says, no, Moshe Rabbeinu is a great Navi, and he did the right thing, and I speak to him mouth to mouth. So this is the indication that the Eibishter was maskim to what Moshe Rabbeinu did. The third thing that Moshe Rabbeinu did with his own decision. Shaveres haluchais. Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchais when he came down from Har Sinai. My Dorish, what did he darshan? Where did he come to the conclusion to do this? Omar, he said as follows. Uma Pesach, Shu Echad Mitaryag Mitzvahs. The Korban Pesach is only one of 613 mitzvahs. Amra Torah, the Torah says, V'chol ben nechal yechal bay, that a guy cannot partake in the Korban Pesach. HaTorah kulakan. Over here we have the entire Torah. The Yisrael mumrim. And over here the Yidden are mumrim. The Yidden served Avodah Zarah. Alachas kama v'kama, most definitely that they're not fit to receive the Torah. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchas. Uminala and the hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu al yadai. From where do we know that the Eibishter was maskim to what Moshe Rabbeinu did? Shenemar, because the pasuk says, Asher shibarta. This you have broken. Reish Lakish darshaned on this. Yasher keichacha sheshibarta. The Eibishter gave Moshe Rabbeinu a yasher keich. I strengthen you for what you did, that you broke the luchai. So the Eibishter agreed to this. So there's a sikha where the Rebbe points out, when I get to these things over here, what's the theme of what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing here? Moshe Rabbeinu is being Meisif Midaitai. There's the Aveda that a Yid does from below. There's the mitzvahs that the Eibishter gives Mulmaila, and then there's what Moshe Rabbeinu on his own comes to a conclusion to do. Although, as we see here in the Gemara, in all of these three cases, it's not that Moshe Rabbeinu just invented this from his own imagination. He had a certain drasha, he had a certain kal v'chayme that he did this with. But yet, it wasn't a tzivi mefurish from the Eibishter. It's something that Moshe Rabbeinu had deduced on his own. This is showing that the maila of the Aveda of the Yidden from below. The Aveda here, starting with Moshe Rabbeinu, empowering the Yidden to do this, to be Meisif, a Yid could be Meisif on his own, more even than what the Tzivoy is, Mul Maila. And in all these three things, we see this concept here where Moshe Rabbeinu was Meisif Mul Mata. He was Meisif another day of preparation for Matan Torah. The whole idea of Matan Torah is that the Shechina comes down Mul Maila. Whatever preparation the Yidden are doing is l'chayre inadequate to this great revelation that happens. That's infinitely greater of what they can reach. However, Moshe Rabbeinu was Meisif another day. Mitzad the Maila of the Hachana, of the Aveda of the Yidden from below. The same thing also with Moshe Rabbeinu being fit for being the Navi, to listen to the Eibush, to speak to him. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to be mevared himself and elevate himself, to be on the level, to listen to the Shechina speaking to him by separating from his wife. And for sure, the third thing, which the Rebbe spoke about on many, many occasions, when it came to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchais. This is actually brought in the very last Rashi in Torah. Asher shibarta, yasher keichach asher shibarta. It's the very last words of Rashi in his Pirush al Torah, and the Rebbe spoke about this on many occasions. One of the times the Rebbe said over here is that this Shviras Haluchas represents the Avodas HaTshuva. Moshe Rabbeinu saw Klal Yisrael, and he could have given them the Torah as is, but then the Luchas HaRishaynes represents the Avodah of Tzadikim, that receive the Torah and use it the way it's intended to be used, l'chatchila, and that Moshe Rabbeinu saw Yidden weren't ready for. Yidden had to do tshuva first, and then he gives them the second set of luchais, which actually brought about much deeper revelations, brought about Yidden the kayach to do tshuva, and eventually through the second luchais, Yidden got much more from the Torah even than the first luchais. And that's the Asher Shibarta that Moshe Rabbeinu revealed in the Yidden, a kayach of tshuva, the Avodas HaTachton, to elevate to a much higher place. Okay, now the Gemara, let's go back into the Gemara. The Gemara returns to the discussion of the Machlokes of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan. Tashema, let's see what it says in the Pasuk. V'hayu nechayim l'yom hashlishi. You should be ready on the third day for Matan Torah. So again, Kashya l'Rabbi Yossi. This is a question to Rabbi Yossi that said that the Matan Torah only happened on the fourth day, after they separated from their wives. Ha'amrinan, so the Gemara answers, but we already said, Yom echad hosef Moshe midaita. Even though the Eibush said on the third day, but Moshe Rabbeinu added the fourth day. Toshema, we have another brayso that says as follows. Shlishi, the third day that Moshe Rabbeinu was preparing Klal Yisrael, as the Gemara is going to soon explain. Shlishi b'chaydesh, this was on Gimel Sivan, v'shlishi b'Shabbos. And when was Gimel Sivan? It was on Tuesday. So over here in this brayso, it actually says like the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, that Rosh Chodesh was on Sunday and Gimel Sivan was on Tuesday. Kashya l'Rabbanan. So this would be a question according to the Rabbanan. Amri lach Rabbanan. The Rabbanan say this brayso is not a question. Hamani Rabbi Yossi. This brayso is Rabbi Yossi speaking. This is not our opinion. Shlishi lemai. So the Gemara explains what's up pshat when it says here that this was the third day. Third day of what? Like the Tanya, like we learned in the brayso that Moshe Rabbeinu was preparing the Yidden for Matan Torah. It says in the pasuk, "Vayashav Moshe es divrei Amal Hashem." Moshe Rabbeinu brought back the words of the nation, the words of the Yidden to the Eibishter. Uksiv in another pasuk it says, "Vayaged Moshe es divrei Amal Hashem," that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke the words of the nation to the Eibishter. So the brayso here asks the following questions. Ma omaloi HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeMoshe. What is it that the Eibishter says to Moshe Rabbeinu? Uma omalei Moshe LiYisrael. And then what is it that Moshe Rabbeinu shared with Yidden? Uma omru Yisrael LeMoshe. What did Yidden respond and tell Moshe Rabbeinu? Uma heishiv Moshe lefnei HaGvura. And what did Moshe Rabbeinu return and bring from the Yidden to the Eibishter? Zu mitzvah Hagbala. This is the mitzvah of Hagbala, of Hagbalas Arvi Kidashtoi. The Eibishter tells Moshe Rabbeinu the mitzvah to fence off the mountain, and Moshe Rabbeinu shares it with the Yidden. And then the Yidden tell Moshe Rabbeinu, we accept this mitzvah. Nasa, we accept this mitzvah, and he returns the message to the Eibishter. Divrei Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. Rabbi says that what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling the Yidden was, B'tchila pirish einsha. First, Moshe Rabbeinu told the Yidden the einshim, the punishment of one that does not follow Torah. Because the first thing the pasuk says, Vayoshav Moshe, Vayoshav. So the Gemara here darshans, what does Vayoshav mean? Dvarim shemeshavevin daita shel adam. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Yidden harsh words that sort of irritate the mind. But then Moshe Rabbeinu told them the reward of fulfilling Torah. He said, Vayaged. What does Vayaged mean? Dvarim shemoishchim libo shel adam ka'agada. Moshe Rabbeinu drew the Yidden closer to them, like when you learn Agadata, that's what we're doing now, when you learn Agada, which draws a person closer. So he told them the schar of Torah. Vikedamri, and others say, B'tchila pirish matn schara. No, it's the other way around. Actually, first Moshe Rabbeinu told the Yidden the schar, the reward for fulfilling Torah. The chsiv Vayoshav Moshe. What does the word Vayoshav mean? Dvarim shemeshivin daita shel adam. He first spoke to them words that calm down a person. Olebesayif pirish einsha, and only later did he share with them the einshim. The chsiv Vayagid Moshe, that Moshe, he spoke to the Yidden, Vayagid, what does it mean? Dvarim shekoshim la'adam kegidim. He spoke to them harsh words that are difficult for a person to accept, like bitter herbs. Okay, so this is the machlekes here in the Gemara of what approach did Moshe Rabbeinu take. Did he first take the approach of Gvura and then Chesed? Or first Chesed and then Gvura? Or like the famous Lashon of Chazal, you have Yimin Doiche, Smoil Mekarav, Yimin Doiche. What comes first? Is the Smoil, usually actually the Lashon of Chazal is that the Smoil Doiche comes first and then the Yimin Mekarav. So we have over here the two shittas of what Moshe Rabbeinu's approach was. Akapanim, this Moshe Rabbeinu was busy preparing the Yidden for Matan Torah, and this is what it means, Shlishi, the third day of Moshe Rabbeinu preparing the Yidden. Tashama, there's another brayso that says, Shishi, on the sixth thing that happened, and the Gemara will soon explain what's the sixth thing that happened. This was Shishi B'Chodesh. This was on the sixth day in the month, on Vav Sivan, and it was Shishi B'Shabbos. Vav Sivan was on a Friday. So again, Kashi l'Rabbana. This is a question according to the Rabbana that say that when was Vav Sivan on Shabbos? Answers the Gemara, Hanami Rabbi Yaisi. This brayso as well is also according to Rabbi Yaisi. So the Gemara now asks, Shishi Lamai. This was the sixth day of what? Okay, so Rashi over here says that you can't say this was the sixth day of Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to the Yidden, because he didn't speak to them after this. After he told them the mitzvah of Akbala, mitzvah of Perisha, he didn't speak to them every day, so therefore you can't say it was the sixth day for that. So what was it the sixth day for? So Rava says, Rava Omar L'chani Yosan. This was the sixth day of the Yidden, the place where they rested, where they camped over there at Har Sinai. Rav Acha bar Yaakov says, L'masa'on. This was the sixth day from when they left, from when they traveled from Refidim. In other words, they didn't only camp at Har Sinai on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, but they also left Refidim on Rosh Chodesh Sivan as well. What's the machlekes? Sagt the Gemara, the machlekes over here is b'Shabbos the Mara. The machlekes is regarding Shabbos that Yidden already received before Matan Torah. In Mara, the Yidden already got Shabbos, the mitzvah of Shabbos. The Chsiv, it says in the pasuk, Kashe tzivcha Hashem Elokecha, in Vaschanam, when the Torah says the Seres HaDibros the second time, so over there regarding Shabbos, it says that the Eibishter had already commanded Shabbos from before. The Yidden were commanded from before in Mara. So now the question is, if the Yidden arrived to Har Sinai on Sunday, what does that mean? Did they travel on Shabbos and then arrived on Sunday? Or, no, they weren't allowed to travel on Shabbos because they already accepted Shabbos. So they must have traveled on Shabbos, they left on Shabbos and arrived on Shabbos as well. That's what the argument here is. Mar Savar, a Shabbos ifkud, a Tchumen loy ifkud. So Rav Acha bar Yaakov says that yes, they did accept Shabbos, they were commanded for Shabbos, for the mitzvah of Shabbos, but the Tchumen, the mitzvah of going out of the Tchum Shabbos, for that they weren't commanded. And therefore they were able to travel on Shabbos. And Taisus actually adds to this, it's not only Tchum Shabbos, the whole Isser, the whole Malach of Hitzah, of not carrying out from one domain to another, they also weren't commanded yet because they had to carry all their things and bring everything along with them. So they weren't commanded on that one Malacha. Omar Sovar, and Rava says, Atchumen Nami Yifkud. When they accepted Shabbos, when they were commanded on Shabbos at Mara, they were commanded on Shabbos, including the Isser of Tchumen and Hitzah, and therefore they had to have traveled on Sunday as well. I switched the opinions. This is Rav Acha Bar Yaakov's opinion, and the opinion before was Rav's opinion. Okay. Sagt die Gemara weiter. Here we're going to have another question regarding the machlokes of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanon regarding the scheduling of the preparation for Matan Torah and when Matan Torah happened. Tashema, come and hear what it says in the Braisa. So now let's go further back. What happened when was the day when the Yidden left Mitzrayim? Tashema, Nisan Sheba Yotzi Yisrael Mitzrayim. The month of Nisan, when the Yidden came out of Mitzrayim. Barba Asa Shachtu Pischayim. On the 14th day, they shechted the Korban Pesach. Ubechamisha Asar Yatzu, and then on the 15th day, they left Mitzrayim. Ule Erev, at night, Laku B'chayris. There was the Makis B'chayris. So the Gemara interrupts the Braisa and asks, Le Erev, the following night, after they left Mitzrayim, was Makis B'chayris? Solke Daitach, would you say this? Ela rather, no, that's not the pshat. Eime, the Bach adds the word Eime. Eime say the Braisa mi be'erev, laku b'chayris. From before, the evening before they left Mitzrayim, that's when Makis b'chayris takes place. Okay, the Braisa continues now. Va'oisai hayayim, on that day when the Yidden left Mitzrayim, chamisha asa b'nissen, chamishi b'shabbos haya. It was on a Thursday. That's when the Yidden left Mitzrayim. So now the Gemara makes the cheshbon. Let's see. Let's take it from Chodesh Nisan to Chodesh Sivan to see on what day Rosh Chodesh Sivan will take place. So the way the months are established is, as we'll see now here in the Gemara, Chodesh Nisan is a full month of 30 days. Chodesh Iyar is a chaser, 29 days, right? We have the way we have it now, that the months all alternate. There's 6 full months of 30 days and 6 months that only have 29 days. Okay? So now, with the Chamesa b'Nisan, Chamisha b'Shabbos, if the 15th day of Nisan is on Shabbos, so then Reish Yarche de Ir, Rish Chodesh Ir, Aleph Ir, after you have full 30 days of Nisan, so that would be 30 days later, not 30 days, I'm sorry, 16 days later, from Chamisha Asa b'Nisan to Rish Chodesh Ir, after 30 days of Nisan is 16 days later, when would that be? Shabbat. That would fall, 16 days later would fall out on Shabbos. Okay, that's the cheshbon. Okay, if you have 14 days later, it's going to fall out the exact same day of the week. So that would be on a Thursday. 16 days later would be on a Shabbos. So we now know that Rosh Chodesh Iyar was on Shabbos. V'reish Yarche de Sivan. So if so, take it to the next month. When would Rosh Chodesh Sivan be? Chad b'Shabbos. It would come out on a Sunday. Why is that? Because Chodesh Iyar was a chaser. It was only 29 days. If it would be 28 days later, it would fall out exactly 4 weeks later on the same day of the week, on Shabbos. But if it's 29 days later, so then it's on Sunday. So what do we see? When was the Chodesh Sivan? On Shabbos. Kashi l'Rabbanon. So this is a question according to the Rabbanon's opinion. Answers the Gemara. Amri l'cha Rabbanon. The Rabbanon answer, Ir dahu shata. The Chodesh Iyar of that year, Iburi Abrua. They actually made it a full month of 30 days, even though usually you have one mole and one chaser, but then they're Mekadosh the Chodesh al Pi Re'iyah, they made it a full month, and therefore it was 30 days, so the Chodesh was on Monday. Tashema de lo Yabrua Nissen, de lo Yabrua, come, I'll bring you a raya that they did not make it a Shana Muberes, not Shana Muberes, sorry, they did not make that month a extra day. So the Gemara brings it, says in the Braisa as follows: Nisan Sheba Yotzi Yisrael Mitzrayim, the Nisan that the Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, Barbos Shachtu on the 14th day they shechted the Pischayim, they shechted the Korban Pesach, B'chamisha Asa Yotzu, and then on Thursday they left Mitzrayim. Ule Erev Laku, and at night there was Laku B'chayris, was Makis B'chayris. Again, the Gemara asks the same question. The beginning of this Braisa is the same as the previous Braisa. Le Erev Salka Daitach was Makis B'chayris after they left Mitzrayim. Ela Ema rather mi Be'erev Laku, from the night before Laku B'chayris was Makis B'chayris. Now, continuing in the Braisa, Yom Chamishi B'Shabbos, on that day was on a Thursday. Hishlim Nisan was completed. V'ira Iyar liyais b'Shabbos. And when did Rosh Chodesh Iyar fall out? On a Shabbos. 16 days later is on a Shabbos. Chaser Iyar v'ira Sivan liyais be'echad b'Shabbos. The month of Iyar was missing that 30th day. It was only 29 days. When does Rosh Chodesh Sivan come out on? On Sunday. Kashi l'Rabbanon. So this is clearly a question according to the Rabbanon. So over here, the Braisa clearly spells it out, that Rosh Chodesh Sivan was on Sunday. Answers the Gemara, Hamani Rabbi Yossi here. Yes, you're correct, you're right. This Braisa Taka goes according to Rabbi Yossi. Another Braise, Omarav Papa Toshama. I'll bring you another ayah to this. V'yisu, it says, V'yisu me Elim. They traveled from Elim, Vayavoyu kol adas b'nei Yisrael v'gaymer, and all the Yidden arrived b'chamisha asa yom l'chodesh hasheni, on the 15th day of Iyar. They arrived to, where did they arrive to? This is before they arrived to Har Sinai, but they arrived to Midbar Sin, as the continuation of the pasuk says. Okay, so they arrived to this place on the 15th day of Iyar. Now, when was this 15th day of Iyar? We know that day was on a Shabbos. How do we know that day was on a Shabbos? Because the Eibusher then says to the Yidden, Ubayker ureisem es kveid Hashem. In the morning, in other words, the following morning, you will see the glory of the Eibusher. How will they see the glory of the Eibusher? That's the following day. On Tez Zayin's Iyar is the first day that the month came down. Ksiv, Sheishis Yomim Til Kituhu. You're going to have now 6 days that you're going to gather the month. So in other words, 6 uninterrupted days from Sunday to Friday, they're going to have the month. The first day the month fell was on a Sunday, was Tez Zayin Iyar. So Chamisha Asa B'Iyar was when? On a Shabbos. So now, Umid Chameisar B'Iyar Shabbos, if the 15th day of Iyar is on a Shabbos, Reish Yarchid Sivin, 15 days later, which is Rish Chodesh Sivin, is Chad B'Shabbos. So that would come out on a Sunday. If there's only 29 days to the month of Iyar, so Rish Chodesh Sivin is 15 days later, so that's on a Sunday. Kashil Rabbanon, so this is a question according to the Rabbanon. How could we say that it was on a Sunday? Rabbanan say it was on a Monday. Amri l'cha Rabbanan say no. Iyar dahi shaita iburi ibrua. The Iyar of that year actually had 30 days, and therefore Rish Chodesh Sivin is on a Monday, like we said before. Sagt the Gemara weiter, another raya, Amalei, Rav, Chavivi, or the Bach is Geiris here, Rav Asi. Rav Asi Mechuzno, Rav Ashi, Toshama. I'll bring you a raya from another place, and this is the last raya we'll learn for today. So now we're actually going ahead, later on in the Torah. We're going to the second year. And it was in the first month, Bashona Hashenis, in the second year, Be'echad LaChodesh, on the first day of the month, Hukam HaMishkan, the Mishkan was put up. So over here, this is the Chodesh Nisan. The Chodesh Nisan is the day, the very first day that the Mishkan was put up for Klal Yisrael. So Tana, we learned in Abraisa as follows: Oisayim, this day, Natal Eser Atores. 10 crowns this day takes. 10 special things happen on this day. What are they? Rishayin Lamaisa Bereshis. This is the first day for Maisa Bereshis, because it was on a Sunday. Okay. Then it was also, just a moment, Rishayin L'Nesiyim. It was also the first day that the Nesiyim brought their karbanis, as we know. It's actually this week's Parsha, Parshas Nasai, all the karbanis that the Nesiyim brought on this day. Rishayin L'Kahona, the first time that Aaron HaKoyin began serving as a Kohen. Rishayin La'Aveda, the first day of the Aveda that was done in the Mishkan with all the karbanis tzibur that were brought, the carbon tamid and so on. Rishayin L'Yiridas Eish, the first time that the fire descended from heaven onto the Mizbeach to eat the karbanis, as Rashi brings, Vateitze Eish. Rishayin L'Achilas Kachim, the first day that they had the mitzvah to eat the kachim inside the Azara, inside the Mishkan. Rishayin L'Shchayin Shchina, or as the Bach is guided over here, Rishayin L'Shchayin Shchina B'Yisrael, the first day that the Shchina dwells amongst Yidden. Rishayin Levarech Es Yisrael, the first day that that Aaron HaKoyin benched the Yidden with Birchas Kayanim, as it says over there, Vayevarech, they benched the Yidden there with Birchas Kayanim. Rishayin L'Isser Abamais, the first day that Abama, to bring a carbon any other location, was forbidden. Rishayin L'Chadoshim, and this was also the first on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Okay, so these are all the 10 things that took place on this day. So what does the Gemara say now? Umidereish Yarchid Nisan the High Shata Chad B'Shabbos. If Rosh Chodesh Sivan this year was on a Sunday, the Ishtakid, that would mean that the year earlier, B'Daled B'Shabbos, the year earlier was on a Wednesday, was 4 days earlier on a Wednesday. Okay, how do we know this? when you look at Rosh Chodesh Nisan of this year and you compare it to Rosh Chodesh Nisan to the year before, it's going to be 4 days earlier on the day of the week. How do we know this? The Gemara brings a Braisa. The Tanya, because we learned in a Braisa, Acherim said, Ein bein atzeres la atzeres. There's no difference as far as the day of the week that Shavuos would fall out from this year to the previous year. Ve'ein bein Rosh Hashanah la Rosh Hashanah. And there's no difference as far as the day of the week that Rosh Hashanah falls out from this year's Rosh Hashanah to the previous year's Rosh Hashanah. Elo, and the Bach adds that it says the same thing regarding Pesach. Ve'ein bein Pesach la Pesach. There's no difference in the kviyas of the day of the week of Pesach this year and Pesach of the previous year. Elo dalid yomim bulvad. Only 4 days. V'im ha'isa shana mu'beres. If there's another month, hey. So then there's a different then there's a difference of 5 days. Okay. So very, very shortly and simply, Rashi over here says that the cheshbon is because the calendar of the year, the full year, is 354 days. 350 days is exactly exactly 50 weeks. 7 times 50 is 350. Right. So that's exactly 50 weeks. So if you have exactly 50 weeks, so then the kviyas of this year will be the exact same as the year before. But if you add another 4 days, 354 days, so you're going to be 4 days ahead. So therefore, whatever fell out last year, this year we're 4 days ahead. That's in a normal year. If there's a leap year, there's another month, so therefore you add there's 29 days and there's an extra day to adding more than another 4 weeks, so then you add another day, 5 days ahead. So now the Gemara says, what's the cheshbon? Havale, so according to this it would come out, then of the second year when they left Mitzrayim.
The thing is, we already discussed the idea that they're Mechadish.
So let's see, just a second, wait, first let's see the cheshbon the Gemara makes. So now the second year the Yidden left Mitzrayim, Rosh Chodesh Nisan was on a Sunday. So that would mean that the year they left Mitzrayim, Rosh Chodesh Nisan was on a Wednesday, 4 days earlier. This would fit only with Rabbi Yossi's opinion. So then Havale Reish Yarcha the Ear Maile Shabbata. So Rosh Chodesh Ear, which is going to be 2 days off, 2 days further, 2 days later than Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because it's a full month of 30 days. When you have a full month of 30 days, the next Chodesh, the next Rosh Chodesh that is going to be 2 days later in the week. That's going to be on Friday. V'reish Yarcha de Sivin, and then Rosh Chodesh Sivin is going to come out when? Shabbata. It's going to come out on Shabbos. So actually, the Gemara says, Kashya bein l'Rabbi Yossi, bein l'Rabbanan. This is a question both according to Rabbi Yossi and according to the Rabbanan. Because it's going to come out that Rosh Chodesh Sivin was on Shabbos, not on Sunday and not on Monday. If Rosh Chodesh Nisan is on a Wednesday, so then Rosh Chodesh Iyar is on a Friday, because it's 30 days of Nisan, so Rosh Chodesh Iyar is on Friday. And then Rosh Chodesh Iyar has 29 days, so then Rosh Chodesh Sivin comes out on Shabbos. It's a question both according to Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan. So the Gemara answers, Li Rabbi Yossi, according to Rabbi Yossi, what we're going to say is as follows. Shiva Chaserin Ovud. That year, they actually had 7 months that were 29 days. Usually the cheshbon we have that the following year is off by 4 days is because there's 6 full months and 6 months that are chaser. So then you have 4 days off. But over here, there was Shiva Chaserin Ovud. There was seven months that were only 29 days. Okay, so therefore you're a day ahead. So you're a day ahead, so the Rosh Chodesh Sivin comes out on a Sunday. And the Rabbanon, Ches Chaserim Ovud. According to the Rabbanon, they actually had 8 months that were only 29 days, so you're 2 days ahead. So therefore, Rosh Chodesh Sivin fell out on a Monday. So it comes out actually that there's this other opinion of Achedim, not Achedim, sorry. Achedim was just another detail here. There's this other opinion in the Braise that the Gemara does not focus on a lot at all, that says that Rosh Chodesh Sivin was on a Shabbos. So it's a shtickle shaila to what we said before. Before we said, L'kula alma b'Shabbos nitna Torah. Everybody agrees that Torah was given on Shabbos because...
well, so if it's given on Shabbos, then it was given on a different day of the month. Then it was given on Ches.
Correct, which is that the pshat over here in the Gemara? I'm just pointing out, we have a third opinion over here. Till now we're discussing Rabbanan and Rabbi Yossi, and the Gemara says that...
So I would assume
just a second. No. I'm making a mistake. No, it's not a third opinion, B'chlal. The Gemara is just making this cheshbon. The Gemara is bringing the Braise of what happened in the second year that Rosh Chodesh Nisan came out on a Sunday. Then the Gemara goes ahead and makes the cheshbon that if you work your way backwards, it would come out that Rosh Chodesh Sivan was on a Shabbos. But the Gemara concludes that's not the case, because either there was 7 months that were chaser, or there were 8 months that were chaser, and therefore you're a day ahead or 2 days ahead, and therefore Rosh Chodesh Sivan was either on a Sunday or on a Monday. We only have 2 opinions over here. Okay, that's the end of the Gemara.